Maaf ya kalau ada suara guguk. Aku tadi sampai mana ya baca? Oh, chapter 2. So, I lived my life alone without anyone that I could really talk to. Until I had an accident with my plane in the desert of Sahara 6 years ago. Something was broken in my engine, and as I had with me neither a mechanic nor any passengers, I set myself to attend the difficult repairs all alone. It was a question of life or death for me. I had scarcely enough drinking water to last a week. Wait, mari singkirkan minuman ini dulu. Sampai mana ya tadi? Oh, the first night. Then I went to sleep on the sand, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. I was more isolated than a shipwrecked sailor on a raft in the middle of the ocean. Thus you can imagine my amazement at sunrise when I was awakened by an old little voice. It said, "If you please throw me a sip." What? Throw me a sip? I jumped to my feet, completely thunderstruck. I blinked my eyes hard. I looked carefully all around me, and I saw a most extraordinary small person who stood there examining me with great seriousness. Here you may see the best portrait that later I was able to make of him. But my drawing is certainly very much less charming than its model. That, however, is not my fault. The grown-up discouraged me in my painter's career when I was 6 years old, and I never learned to draw anything except balls from the outside and the balls from the inside. Now I stared at this sudden appreciation with my eyes fairly starting out of my head in astonishment. Remember, I had crashed in the desert 1,000 miles from any inhabited region. And yet my little man seemed neither to be straying uncertainly among the sands, nor to be fainting from fatigue or hunger or dread of fear. Nothing about him gave any suggestion of a child lost in the middle of the desert, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. When at last I was able to speak, I said to him, "But what are you doing here?" And in answer he repeated, very slowly, as if he were speaking of a matter of great consequence, "If you please throw me a sip when a mystery is too overpowering, one dare not disobey, absurd as it might seem to me." 1,000 miles from any human habitation and in danger of death, I took out my pocket, a sheet of paper and my fountain pen. But then I remember how my studies has been concentrated on geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar, and I thought the little chap a little crossly too. that I did not know how to draw. He answered me, "That doesn't matter, draw me a sheep." But I had never drawn a sheep, so I drew for him one of the two pictures I had drawn so often. It was that of the boa constrictor from the outside, and I was astounded to hear the little fellow greet it with, "No, no, no, I do not want an elephant inside a boa constrictor. A boa constrictor is a very dangerous creature, and an elephant is very cumbersome. Where I live, everything is very small. What I need is a sheep. Draw me a sheep." So then I made a drawing. He looked at it carefully and said, "No, this sheep is already very sickly. Make me another." So I made another drawing. My friend smiled gently and indulgently. "You see yourself," he said. "That is not a sheep. This is a ram. It has horns." So then I did my drawing over once more. But it was rejected too, just like the other. This one is too old. I want a sheep that will live a long time. But this time my patience was exhausted because I want to hurry to start taking my engine part. So I thought of this drawing and I threw out an explanation with it. "This is only his box. The sheep you asked for is inside." It was very surprised to see a light break over the face of my young judge. That is exactly the way I want it. Do you think that the sheep will have to have a great deal of grass? Why? Because where I live everything is very small. There will surely be enough grass for him, I said. It's a very small sheep that I have given you. He bent his head over the drawing. Not so small, look, he has gone to sleep. And that's it. How I met the acquaintance of the little prince. Too dark, I cannot see my book. Where is my glasses? Oh. It took me a long time to learn. It took me a long time to learn where he came from. The little prince who asked me so many questions never seemed to have heard the one I asked him. It was from wardrobe by chance that little by little, everything was revealed to me. The first time he saw my airplane, for instance, I shall not draw my airplane, that would be much too complicated for me. He asked me, "What is that object?" "That is not an object, it flies." "It's an airplane, it's my airplane." And I was proud to have him learn that I could fly. He cried out then, "What you drop from the sky?" "Yes." I answered modestly, "Oh, that is funny." And the little prince broke into a lovely peal of laughter, which irritated me very much. I like my misfortune to be taken seriously. Then he added, "So you do come from the sky?" which is your planet? At that moment, I caught a gleam of light in the impenetrable mystery of his presence. Iya, aku nyuruh kalian tidur. Sambil aku baca buku. Then he added, "So you two come from the sky, which is your planet?" At the moment, I caught a gleam of light in the impenetrable mystery of his presence, and I demanded abruptly, "They come from another planet?" But he did not reply. He tossed his head gently without taking his eye from my plane. It is true that on that you can't have come from very far away, and he sank into reverie, which lasted a long time. Then, taking my ship out of his pocket, he buried himself in the contemplation of his treasure. You can imagine how my curiosity was aroused by this half-confidence about the other planets. I made a great effort, therefore, to find out more on this subject. "My little man, where do you come from? What is this? Where I live? Of which you speak? Where do you want to take your seat?" After a reflective silence, he answered, "The thing that is so good about the box you have given me is that at night he can use it as his house." "That is so. And if you're good, I will give you a string too, so that you can tie him during the day and post to tie him too." But the little prince seemed so bad this over. "Tie him? What a queer idea. But if you don't tie him," I said, "he will wander off somewhere and get lost." My friend broke into another peal of laughter. "But where do you think he would go?" "Anywhere, straight ahead of him." Then the little prince said earnestly, "That doesn't matter. Where I live, everything is so small." And with perhaps a hint of sadness, he added, "Straight ahead of him. Nobody can go very far." Aduh, suara kuku. I had thus learned a second fact of great importance. This was that the planet the little prince came from was scarcely any larger than a house. Gugupnya. Shh. Ini adalah latar kuku. But that did not really surprise me much. I knew very well that in addition to great planets such as the Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, to which we have given names, there are also hundreds of others, some of which are so small that one has a hard time seeing them through the telescope. When an astronomer discovers one of these, he does not give it a name, but only a number. He might call it, for example, asteroid 325. I have serious reason to believe that the planet from which the little prince came is the asteroid known as B612. This asteroid has only once been seen through the telescope. That was by a Turkish astronomer in 1909. On making his discovery, the astronomer has presented it to the International Astronomical Congress in a great demonstration. But he was in Turkish costume, and so nobody would believe that he said. Grown-ups are like that. Fortunately, however, for the reputation of asteroid B612, a Turkish dictator made a law that he should take under pain of death, should change to European custom. So in 1920, the astronomer gave his demonstration all over again, dressed with impressive style and elegance, and this time everybody accepted his report. Oh no. Yeah, grown up believe that if you look good, then you can be trusted. Appearance is number one. If I have told you this detail about the asteroid and made a note of its number for you, it is on account of the grown ups and their ways. When you tell them that you have made a new friend, they never ask you any question about essential matters. They never say to you, what does his voice sound like? What game does he love best? Does he call it butterfly? Instead, they demand, how old is he? How many brothers has he? How much does he weigh? How much money does his father make? Only from these figures do they think they have learned anything about him. Oh my god, yeah, for real. If you were to say to the grown-ups, I saw a beautiful house made of rosy bricks with geraniums in the windows and doves of the roof. Hello, Fujirama. They would not be able to get any idea of that house at all. You would have to say to them, I saw a house that cost $20,000. Then they would exclaim, oh, what a pretty house that is. Just so, you must say to them, the proof that the little prince existed is that he was charming, that he loved, and that he was looking for a sheep. If anybody wants a sheep, that is a proof that he exists. And what good will it do to tell them that? They will shrug their shoulders and treat you like a child. But if you say to them, the planet he came from is asteroid B612, then they would be convinced and leave you in peace from their question. They are like that. One must not hold it against them. Children should always show great forbearance toward grown-up people. But certainly for us who understand life, figures are matter of indifference. Rem, iya Jidan, apa Jidan? I should have liked to begin this story in the fashion of the fairy tales. I should have liked to say, once upon a time there was a little prince who lived on the planet that was scarcely any bigger than himself, and who had need of a sheep. Halo. Halo Kubi. for I do not want anyone to read my book carelessly. I have suffered too much grief in setting down these memories. 6 years have already passed since my friend went away from me with his ship. If I try to describe him here, it is to make sure that I shall not forget him. To forget a friend is sad. Not everyone has had a friend, and then if I forget him, I might become like the grown-ups who are no longer interested in anything but figures. I don't want to be grown-up. It is for that purpose, again, that I have bought a box of pens and some pencils. It is hard to take up drawing again at my age, and I have never met any picture except those of the boa constrictor from the outside and the boa constrictor from the inside. Since I was 6, I shall certainly try to make my portrait as true to life as possible. But I'm not at all sure of success. One drawing goes along alright, and another has no resemblance to its subject. I make some error in the little prince's head. In one place he is too tall, and in another too short. And I feel some doubts about the color of his costume, so I fumble along as best as I can. No good, no bad, and I hope generally fair to the middling. In certain more important detail I shall make mistakes. Also, but that is something that will not be my fault. My friend never explained anything to me. He thought perhaps that I was like himself, but I, Alice, don't know how to see sheep through the wall of books. Perhaps I'm little like the grommet. I have had to grow old. Kamu makhluk nokturnal ya? Iya. As each day passed, I would learn in our talk. Something about the little prince planned his departure from it, his journey. The information would come very slowly, as it might chance to fall from his toes. I was in this way that I heard on the third day about the catastrophe of the baobabs. This time once more I had the ship to thank for it, for the little prince asked me abruptly, as if said by grave thought, "Is it true, isn't it, that ship eat little buses?" "Yes, that is true." "Ah, I'm glad." Hola, hello, Ryujin. I did not understand why it was so important that ships should eat little buses, but the little prince added, "Then if they also eat baobabs." I pointed out to the little prince that baobabs were not little buses, but on the contrary, trees as big as castles, and that even if he took a whole herd of elephants away with him, the herd would not eat up one single baobab. Lagi ngapain? Aku lagi baca buku. The idea of the herd of elephant made the little prince laugh. We would have to put them one top of the other. Buku Judulnya The Little Prince. Novel kah? Iya, tapi kayak yang cerita pendek gitu. That is strictly correct, I said, but why do you want the sheep to eat the little baobabs? Baobabs. He answered me at once. Oh, come, as if he were speaking of something that was self-evident, and I was obliged to make a great mental effort to solve this problem without any assistance. Oh, baru mulai kah? Udah di chapter 5. Indeed, as I learned, there were on the planet where the little prince lived. Sampai chapter sampai chapter 27. Masih panjang kok. Indeed, as I learned, there were on the planet where the little prince lived, as on all planets, good plants and bad plants. In consequence, there were good seeds from good plants and bad seeds from bad plants. But seeds are invisible. They sleep deep in the heart of the earth's darkness until someone among them is seized with the desire to awaken. Iya, masih banyak. Dan paling jam 3 selesai. Terus nanti lanjut lagi. Then this little seed will start itself and begin timidly at first to push a charming little sprig inoffensively upward toward the sun. If it's only a sprout of radish or the sprig of a rose bush, one would let it grow wherever it might wish. But when it is a bad plant, one must destroy it as soon as possible. The very first instant that one recognizes it, no, there were some terrible seeds on the planet that was the home of the little prince, and these were the seeds of the baobab. The soul of the plant was infested with them. A baobab is something you will never be able to get rid if you attend to it too late. It spreads over the entire planet. It bores clear through it with its root. And if the planet is too small and the baobabs are too many, they split it in pieces. It is a question of discipline, the little prince said to me later on. When you finish your own toilet in the morning, then it's time to attend to the toilet of your planet. Just so with the greatest care, you must see to it that you pull out regularly all the baobab at the very first moment when they can be distinguished from the rose bushes which they resemble so closely in their earliest youth. It's very tedious work. The little prince added, but very easy. And one day he said to me, You ought to me, you ought to make a beautiful drawing so that the children where you live can see exactly how old this is. That would be very useful to them if they were to travel someday sometimes. He added, There is no harm in putting off piece of work until another day. But when it is a matter of willpower, that always means a catastrophe. I know a planet that was inhabited by a lazy man. He neglected 3 little boys. So as the little prince described it to me, I have made a drawing of that planet. I do not much like to take the tone of a moralist, but the danger of the bellbird is so little understood, and such considerably risks would be run by anyone who might get lost on an asteroid. That for once I'm breaking through my reserve. Children, I say plainly, watch out for the bellbirds. My friends like myself has been skirting this danger for a long time, without ever knowing it, and so it is for them that I have worked so hard over this drawing. The lesson which I pass on by this means it's worth all the trouble it has caused me. Perhaps you will ask me, why are there no other drawing in this book as magnificent and impressive as this drawing of the baobabs? The reply is simple. I have tried, but with the other I have not been successful. When I made drawing of the baobab, I was carried beyond myself by the inspiring force of urgent necessity. It's really cool. Oh, little prince, bit by bit I came to understand the secrets of your sad little life. For a long time you have found your only entertainment in the quiet pleasure of looking at the sunset. I learned the new detail on the morning of the 4th day when you said to me, I am very fond of sunsets. Come, let us go look at the sunset now. But we must wait, I said. Wait for what? For the sunset. We must wait until it's time. At first you seemed to be very much surprised, and then you laughed to yourself. You said to me, I'm always thinking that I am at home. Just so everybody knows that when it's noon, in the United States the sun is setting over France. If you could fly to France in one time, you could go straight into the sunset, right from noon. Unfortunately, France is too far away for that. But on your tiny planet, my little prince, all you need to do is move your chair a few steps. You can see the day you need to is move your you can see the day end and the toilet foiling whenever you like. One day you said to me, I saw the sunset 44 times, and a little later you added, you know one loves the sunset when one is so sad. Were you so sad then? I asked. On the day of the 44 sunsets, but the little prince made no reply. Why he doesn't reply? On the fifth day again, as always, I was thanks to the sheep. The secret of the little prince's life was revealed to me, abruptly, without anything to lead up to it, and as if the question had been born of long and silent meditation of his problem, he demanded, "A sheep buzzes, does it eat flowers too?" "A sheep?" I answered. "It's anything it finds in its reach. Even flowers that have thorns?" "Yeah. Yes, even flowers that have thorns." "Then the thorns, what use are they?" I did not know. At that moment I was very busy trying to unscrew a bolt that had got stuck in my engine. Selamat malam. I was very much worried, for it was becoming clear to me that the breakdown of my plan was extremely serious, and I had so little drinking water left that I had to fear for the worst. "The thorns, what use are they?" The little prince never let go of a question. Once he had asked it, as for me, I was upset over that bolt, and I answered with the first thing that came into my head. "The thorns are of no use at all. Flowers have thorns just for spite." "Oh." There was a moment of complete silence. Then the little prince flashed back at me with a kind of resentfulness. "I don't believe you. Flowers are weak creatures. They are naive. They reassert themselves as best they can. They believe that their thorns are terrible weapons." I did not answer. At that instant I was saying to myself, if this boat still won't turn, I'm going to knock out with the hammer. Again, the little prince disturbed my thoughts. "And you actually believe that the flower—" "Oh no," I cried. No, I don't believe anything," I answered you with the first thing that came into my head. "Don't you see? I'm very busy with matter of consequence." He stared at me thunderstruck. "Matter of consequence?" He looked at me there, with my hammer in my hand, my fingers black with ending grease, bending down over an object which seemed to him extremely ugly. "You thought just like grown-ups." That made me a little ashamed, but he went on relentlessly. "You mix everything up together. You confuse everything." He was really very angry. Ketiduran kan aku. Ini bedtime story. Emang buat itu. He tossed his golden curls in the breeze. I now planned where there a certain red-faced gentleman. He has never smelled a flower. He has never looked at a star. He has never loved anyone. He has never done anything in his life but add up figures. And all day he says over and over, just like you, I am busy with matter of consequence, and that makes him swell up with pride. But he is not a man. He is a mushroom. A what? A mushroom? The little prince was now white with rage. The flower have been growing thorns for a million years. For a million of years the sheep have been eating them just the same. And it's not matter of consequence to try to understand why the flowers go to so much trouble to grow thorns which are never of any use to them. Is the warfare between the seed and the flowers not important? Is this not of more consequence that the fat red-faced gentleman sums? And if I know I myself one flower which is unique in the world, which grows nowhere but on my planet, but which one little seed can destroy in a single bite some morning, without even noticing what he is doing. Oh, you think that is not important? Hello, hello. His face turned from white to red as he continued. Is if someone loves a flower, of which just one single blossom grows in all the millions and millions of stars, it is enough to make him happy just to look at the stars. He can say to himself, "Somewhere my flower is there." But if the seed eat the flower in one moment, all his stars will be darkened. And you think that is not important? He could not say anything more. His words were choked by sobbing. The night had fallen. I had let my tools drop from my hands. Of what moments now was my hammer, my pole, or thirst, or death? On one star, one planet, my planet, the earth, there was a little prince to be comforted. I took him in my arms. Wait, where is it? I took him in my arms and rocked him. I said to him, "The flower that you love is not in danger. I will draw you a muzzle for your ship. I will draw you a railing to put around your flower. I will." I did not know what to say to him. I felt awkward and blundering. I did not know how I could reach him, where I could overtake him and go on hand in hand with him once more. It is such a secret place, the land of tears. I shall learn to know this flower better. On the little princess, Prince Played the flower had always been very simple. They had only one ring of petals. They took up no room at all. They were a trouble to nobody. One morning they would appear in the grass, and by night they would have faded peacefully away. But one day, from a seed blown from no one knew where, a new flower had come up, and the little prince had watched very closely over this small sprout, which was not like any other small sprout on his planet. It might you see have been a new kind of baobab. The shrub soon stopped growing and began to get ready to produce a flower. The little prince, who was present at the first appearance of huge bud, felt at once that some sort of the miraculous apparition must emerge from it. But the flower was not satisfied to complete the preparation of her beauty. In the shelter of her green chambers, she chose her colors with the greatest care. She dressed herself slowly. She adjusted her petals one by one. She did not She did not wish to go into the world all rumpled like the field poppies. It was only in the full radiance of her beauty that she wished to appear. Oh yes, she was a coquettish creature, and her mysterious adornment lasted for days and days. Then one morning, exactly at sunrise, they suddenly saw herself. And after working with all this painstaking precision, she yawned and said, "Ah, I am sick, scarcely awake. I beg that you will excuse me. My petals are still all disarranged." But the little prince could not restrain his admiration. "Oh, how beautiful you are, and I'm not." "Am I not?" the flower responded sweetly. "And I was born at the same moment as the sun." The little prince could guess easily enough that she was not any too modest. But how moving and existing she was. "I think it's time for breakfast," she added an instant later. "If you would have this kindness to think of my needs." And the little prince, completely abashed, went to look for a sprinkling can of fresh water. So he tended the flower, so that she began very quickly to torment him with her. Vanity, which was, if the truth to be known, a little difficult to deal with. One day, for instance, when she was speaking of her 4 thorns, she said to the little prince, "Let the tiger come with their claws. There are no tigers on my planet." The little prince objected. "And anyway, tigers do not eat weeds." "I'm not a weed," the flower replied. "Please excuse me. I'm not all afraid of tigers." She went on, "But I have a horror of drought. I suppose you wouldn't have a scream for me." "A horror of drought, that is a bad luck for a plant," remarked the little prince, and added to himself, "This flower is a very complex creature. At night I want you to put me under a glass globe. It's very cold where you live, in the place I came from." But she interrupted herself at the point. She had come in the form of a seed. She could not have known anything of any other worlds. Embarrassed of having let herself be caught of the first of such a naive untruth, she called 2 or 3 times in order to put the little prince in the world. The screen? "I was just going to look for it when you spoke to me." Then she forced her coat a little more, so that he should suffer from remorse just the same. So the little prince, in spite of all the goodwill that was inseparable from his love, had soon come to doubt her. He had taken seriously words which were without importance, and it made him very unhappy. no half listened to her. He confided to me one day one never ought to listen to the flowers. One should simply look at them and breathe their fragrance. Mine perfume all my planet, but I did not know how to take pleasure in all her grace. This style of clothes, which disturbed me so much, should only have filled my heart with tenderness of pity. And he continued his confidence. The fact is that I did not know how to understand anything. I ought to have judged by deeds and not by words. She cast her fragrance and her radiance over me. I ought never have run away from her. I ought to have cursed all the affliction that lay behind her poor little stratagem. Flowers are so inconsistent, but I was too young to know how to love her. Now I'm sleepy, but I want to read. Aku mau baca lagi. Sekarang di chapter 9. Chapter 9. Wait, let me took my I also have malice. But I will read that later. Chapter 9. This is a really good story. I really like it. Bum, 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 bum. What language is this? English, Indonesian, oh no. Okay, let's go sleep. Oyasumi. Oyasumi. I lost my phone. Okay, oyasumi guys. Good night. Bye bye. Bye bye.